My name is Angie Edmon. I am, in 1 month, I'll be a 29-year resident of Elgin. I've served 2 terms on the Elgin School Board. I'm a mom and a grandma. All my girls graduated from Elgin. My husband and I pastor a church here in this community. I started out on campus advisory committee for about 5 years at Nighty Elementary, getting to know the whole system of how education works, and it's quite a bit different than what you think it is. And then I had an opportunity to come onto the school board, and I've really enjoyed that opportunity, and I feel like that Elgin has grown in lots of ways in the last 6 years, both logistically, population-wise. We have lots of things that are happening, and we're just scratched the surface of what that's going to look like. I feel like I bring a viewpoint, onto the school board of someone who is a conservative, someone who has not just I don't come from a education background, like I'm not a teacher or somebody who's been in that on it, but I come from a parent and a community involved person, and I look forward to hopefully the opportunity to continue that work, and we've got some bright things ahead for this community, and I hope to be able to be a part of that.
Okay.
Yes?
What work were you saying that you wanted to continue to work? Which work were you wanting to continue?
Well, there's a lot of work that we're doing. Expansion of our programs. We're expanding our district as far as we're adding facilities. Where currently we're really working to advance our CTE program in Elgin, and that is something that as we add on to the school, we're adding on to that program. That's been a priority that we've had, and something that we felt like not just college every student is not college bound, and so we're really looking at putting other opportunities for students to have real life experience and be prepared to hit post-graduation things that they can do that are not just from a college degree standpoint, training in other career and technology and hands-on programs like that. That's one thing that I am that's real important, something that we're working real hard to continue and expand.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
On this new superintendent search, what are you as a school board member advocating for in that new superintendent? What do you want to see in that new superintendent?
Well, I have a list of questions that I have assembled. I think that it's important that they have, I don't know that they necessarily have to come from another district or have an experience of in a district just like this. They need to have an understanding of what a district like this looks like, what they have, the ability to have forward motion, because where they're going to hit the ground, Elgin is a moving train, and there's no saying, well, let me get my bearings, we got to hit the ground running. The people are coming whether we're ready for them or not. And so that's one thing I want to ask and hear from the candidates that are coming, is what that looks like to them, what they feel like that's going to be. I do think that they need to have some experience at which that was a qualification, but I do want to find out what their experience is in a district or similar to this, or what they could see this district. The demographics of this district is unique. We don't have we have a lot of challenges here that maybe some other school districts don't have.
Well, as the school district's evolving, and as the city and the school district's evolving, y'all have this $185 million mandate. I hope that that's like one of the main focuses on what y'all are looking for in the superintendent, because that's the person that's going to take us for the next 10 years building all these facilities we've approved. So is that something that you're looking at?
Yeah, for sure. But there's a plan in place for those funds already.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like somebody comes in and says, I got $185 million. What am I going to do with it? I mean, that's an existing plan, and we just need somebody that is a good leader, that works well with. We have good people in place that can work well with them, to make sure that the plan is executed effectively, efficiently, economically, that we get what we need to get with what we've told our community that we're going to do with that money.
So if you had to pick one thing for your next term, or the next term, I guess, what would that be that you would focus on? What would that be? There's a lot, I know.
Yeah, here's why I find that a little bit of a challenge to answer is that I don't know that I can just go into my school board position with an agenda of my own. I don't get to just go to a meeting and say, well, here's what I think needs to happen. It kind of works up to us, and so we don't necessarily present those. We set goals and objectives for the superintendent and the school district, and then we monitor and make sure that those things are being met. And so obviously, probably in addition to the execution of our bond and preparing for the population explosion that we're going to experience, I feel like we really have to focus on trying to course correct from the last 2 years. We've lost a lot of learning, and our students have really got to get their bearings. We've got to make up that time and figure out how to best meet the needs of the learning loss that we have experienced since 2020, the spring of 2020.
You just made a comment that we've had a learning loss the last 2 years. Other schools right here like Giddings, yes, they're going to be smaller, but Giddings, Taylor, Bastrop, they haven't done what we've done. I know if hindsight would be foresight, we'd be really...
What do you mean they haven't done what we've done? I mean, what do you mean in reference to?
In reference to closing our high school down, having freshmen and sophomores come 2 days a week, juniors and seniors come 2 days a week, nobody comes Friday, that kind of stuff.
Last year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, like I said, you just made a comment and admitted that we've lost a lot of learning. Now, being the way it's been, would you say we screwed up and made the wrong decision, or would you say, I wish we would have done what we did?
Well, first of all, I would like to talk to any school district that would say that they haven't lost learning. Now, whether those kids showed up in the classroom 5 days a week, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, whatever, I still think that there's been a loss of learning across the board, because even the students who were at home, still it's not the same. It's just been hard. And so should they have not alternated the schedule? I don't know, I'd really like to see, I feel like that's kind of a question that I need some data to answer effectively. Do we wish we didn't have to do that? Absolutely. I'm sure that
Well, so here's where I'm going with this,
Okay.
because we got kids in school.
Sure.
So we shut down at spring break the year before. Okay, so then we came back after a 2-3 week and did everything at home, and everything was online, and we got hotspots and we did everything. The thing that aggravates me is when school started again, you had 3 months or 2 months of school still left, you had 3 months of summer to figure it out. Stuff didn't work for the first 2 months at home. It didn't work. My wife's a teacher. She couldn't get the lessons to the kids couldn't get the lessons. My kids are sitting there on their Chromebooks, and it didn't work. So I'm sitting there going, y'all had 6 months to work on this. Why didn't y'all work on this? Why didn't y'all have teachers sitting there sending out lessons to fake email addresses, and then somebody over there trying to work on that email and do that homework and send it back?
So are you telling me, because you're telling me no student was able to access the work?
No, I'm not saying no, but I'm saying it was a huge problem. It was a huge problem. The start of last year was a huge problem. It took 2 months for it to finally get ironed
Well,
out.
I don't, again, I know that I live in the country. My internet experience is very different than somebody else's. I feel like that's kind of vague in terms of, do we wish we'd have done things different? Do we wish everything would have worked perfectly? Absolutely. But I do feel like nobody was at home playing bingo. People were working on this problem. It was a statewide problem, it was a national problem.
Right.
And I think that we could all look at the last 2 years, if you're in any kind of a decision-making position at all, maybe even if you're just at home and you just make decisions for your family, we could probably all look back and say, I did the best I knew to do at the moment based on the information I had. Looking back, could I have done it better, different? Probably so. I doubt very seriously anybody would say different.
Right, but a perfect example, my uncle's a coach in Giddings. So they did the exact same thing. They closed down at spring break. They came back, they were doing in-person and online. And by Thanksgiving, the superintendent said, this is not working. When we come back after 1 week from Thanksgiving, everyone will be in person, we will not offer it. So that's when they started back last year at Thanksgiving. They were like, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm sitting there going, yes, everybody had an idea and a plan. But
I will tell you that based on, I mean, I'd have to, have that right off the top of my head, that we had a lot of parents that did not want to come back. They were very concerned about their kids coming back on campus, and there was a huge push in this population of students and parents to not come back. So there's a lot of students that probably didn't want to come back this year, and we just said, you know what, it's very difficult to do both. It's very difficult to run online and in person. Your wife's a teacher, she knows.
Let me do this. I think we
Okay.
discussed that one. Anyone else?
I have a question. You guys seem to, in school board meetings, focus a lot on the high school. Programs for the high school, things for the high school. My daughter's elementary has an F rating. What are the plans for that? Because I never hear Dr. Brown talking about, the elementary schools and stuff like that. That's where foundations start, you know what I mean?
Well, sure.
My daughter's in kindergarten, so it's here.
And what campus does she go to?
BTW.
BTW?
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know that, unless you're just talking about things that end up getting presented, like, okay, we're talking about a program that happens at the high school. I mean, the things that go on are, and again, like, we don't come to a school board meeting and say, well, here's what I think we need to talk about tonight.
Right, but you said you set goals
We do,
and things like that.
for the whole district wide, and for every grade level, and so,
Elementary, what are we focusing on there?
well, it'd be the same goals that we have for every grade is the same. I mean, we have about 5 or 6 goals that we have for the district every year, that's how you do it. But, there's lots of things that go on at the elementary campus levels, interventions, all kinds of.
I know, I'm just saying overall, academics, not extracurricular, none of the extra programs, just academic wise. What are we doing for those?
What are y'all doing to address the test?
Yes,
At
because
this?
it's a problem.
Well, again, I can't just give you a list of, we have a ton of assessments, we have, not tutors, but we have intervention teachers, we are assessing kids regularly, all from kindergarten to 12. I mean, it's not like we don't just start paying attention to them until they get to a certain age.
No, I get that.
And,
It just seems like emphasis is on high school a lot. That's all.
yeah, I don't, it might seem like that, but I don't think that it's out of balance.
Outside looking in.
Yeah, okay. And that may just be because a lot of this stuff, when we got at school board, we're talking about programs that are going on more, at that level.
Thank you. I'm running for a little longer. It seems like we get some good information back and forth on both sides. So if y'all want to shorten these, just stop asking questions. I didn't see Stephen Reyes. Apparently not. I did see Sarah, did I not? No, you did not? No. I saw Patrick right there.
I am also a lifelong